So from round 2, getting on the podium, we were able to land in 4th place overall. So round 3, I knew I was in 4th, and I'm trying to climb that ladder. At this point, my mindset is on the championship. I had a moment with my dad where I was kind of like, how do we do more? Like, we've been at this track for 2 seasons now, and like, what are we gonna do to do more? We did make some changes. We ended up doing some rebound on the BC shocks and then also some toe adjustments on the rear end of the car. Just a little bit more of an aggressive alignment headed into round 3. From what I've been learning, like with the alignment in the rear end specifically, like you can toe in, toe in, toe in, and then eventually you just get back to the start, right? So too much is not good. And we were just trying to find where that line was. So I kept trying to find grip, trying to find grip. Basically, we were able to find it and then back off just a little bit, which helped because I had like the max grip I could get on that track. Friday was pretty good. The track was actually kind of sandy and a little bit buttery, so like loose, let's say. Saturday morning, the track had come around and become, like a real racetrack with lines and rubber laid down. I was sitting on the line for practice, and I had my alternator spike up to 19 volts, which had basically like lightning bolted my car. We really were kind of in a bind as far as when the alternator happened and then we started trying to fix it. We only had like an hour before qualifying. So this is where we just pretty much had to run it. And after qualifying, we were basically going to try to fix the car. And basically it was just a really rough run. The car was not running good, and I just had to make it happen. My first qualifying run, I was able to get 17th place overall. We then had our second qualifying run, and this happened to be the weirdest moment almost of my career as far as driver mentality. So the track had just rained. So the track on my sight lap was ice. Take my sight lap, do kind of okay, go back to the line, and the track had completely dried up in like 45 seconds. It was insane. So I entered on my second qualifying lap as if it was wet, and it was not. And I totally looked like a fool. So anyways, that left me with one qualifying run, which put me 17th place overall. because the alternator had spiked, we knew something electrical could be weird. So we just started trying to ohm out everything and see kind of what the problem could be as far as what's not getting fuel or not getting power. So yeah, we were really kind of scratching our heads. We were plugged into the Holley stuff, just looking around. Throttle position sensor, we had reset that. Just things that we kind of messed around with, we were trying to re-tighten up. We could not figure out why. Fuel pressure regulator was not getting enough fuel to the injectors. We were waiting on Drift HQ to open up so we could buy a few parts. So we then had bought some fuel pumps, and then it was just like all hands on deck to change these fuel pumps out. Decided to fix the fuel pumps and give up a little bit of practice. I got one practice run. The car was still not right. Then I was right into battling. As the team is fixing the car, I was really just still focusing on the driving line and what I needed to do. So when I got in the car for my first battle in the top 64, I was like ready, even though I had no practice. Being that Klutch Kickers track is a smaller track, the car was still able to keep up and fight for a win that took us into the top 32. And that's when I realized, let's keep trying to fix this car and win this race. In that 64 to 32 gap, all hands on deck again, man. We kept taking laps down the drag strip trying to fix it. This was our biggest gap in time because basically as you go 64, 32, 16, 8, 4s, it speeds up, right? You get less time, less people are competing. So this was our largest gap of time to fix the issue, which we did not fix. Top 32, Ben had won the previous round, so I knew he was no slouch. That little Miata can get around that track like crazy. So all I could do was focus on my timing and make sure I was on his door. But once we had got the thumbs up that we beat Ben Julian, I was like, wow, this could still happen. But up next was Alec Honadale. He had qualified first again and he was on one and I was not on one. Yeah, Honadale's one of those athletes, one of those drivers that basically he's gonna go 100% and you have to go 100%. And I felt like with my car down on power, I gave him a heads up verbally. Like I talked to him and said, dude, I'm down on power. Definitely still gonna try to beat you. And we kind of laughed and went on about our way. This is where things got weird. When I went to chase him, there was a little bit of a gap kind of on the straightaway. I expected that. I adjusted my line and he was very close to it. And from my spotter standpoint, it was pretty much like 0-0, meaning like no real advantage, that I kind of was just ready to take my lead run and hope that I could put on a good show like he did. But this is where somehow, some way, weird stuff keeps happening with Honadale. When I go to enter into zone 2, Honadale mistimed our transition and just got into me. The competitor in me just stayed in throttle. I knew he bumped me pretty hard, but I didn't know if he was back on my door or not. So I just stayed in throttle, finished the run, and as soon as I got done with my run, my ear was ringing from my spotter saying, stop, 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 because I was leaking something that they thought was fuel. Turns out, Honadale had sheared off my radiator inlet and pretty much I just spilt water on the track, which wasn't terrible, but I was in a pretty rough position here trying to fix my aluminum radiator in like however many minutes I had left. And this is where, for us, the event got even more chaotic.
Hey, get out the way! We ain't stopping.
Bluetooth connected.
Just grab everything you guys are gonna think you're gonna need. Get it ready.
They had deemed Honadale at fault for the hit, so I had got the win. So from here, pretty much the judges had let me know I have as much time until my next run to fix my car. And now we were on the battle to fix the car and get back out there. So with my radiator shearing off, pretty much everyone was standing around the car trying to look at what happened. We were really gearing up as far as how we're gonna fix this car and get me ready for the next battle. And this is where community came in, dude. So many good people. I needed a TIG welder, did not have one. I needed like some fittings. Long story short, there was a lot of help on the car, a lot of hands on the car. Dude, like I love that side of drifting, and I really remember how much love and care is in the sport. Competitors themselves were trying to fix my car, right? So that shows you how much love is in the sport of drifting at this level. Kind of our plan of attack was to re-TIG weld the radiator inlet on, that way we could just plug it back in and keep running. The problem here was the TIG welder Ben Hobson had appeared to not be getting enough like power, so it was not really working correctly. Burnt up some time on our end, but we were able to obviously just connect the radiator hoses with one jack handle that I cut into, thank you Josh McGuire, and then 2 hose clamps, thank you ISR, and we deleted the radiator and we sent it, dude. From Honadale to Troy, basically we came up with a plan, so we had our radiator issue resolved. I was battling Troy Manners next, so I knew again this was going to be an insane battle. So obviously when we had deleted the radiator, we were just running motor, looping around to motor. So the motor was going to get warm, and it was going to get warm quick. We had, the boys rounded up as many coolers as they could. I think we had ISR's cooler, our own cooler, Tyler Berry's cooler. So the plan was, I had about 10 people push me. I just bump started it for a second to like coast to the line. And I was gonna take a run. I was gonna call my 5, flush the system, and take another run. But that was our Band-Aid fix, to not hurt the Golden motor, keep the motor as cool as possible, and try to beat Troy. If I had really beat Troy, we didn't know what we were gonna do. So I chased Troy, things went okay. I straightened out and bumped him a little bit, but for the most part I got through the run, which was surprising. And obviously with all the chaos, I think just the camaraderie of everything, everyone was super pumped. It was just cool to see the car like make a lap after all of that, but we had to stick to the plan. So from here, cruise through the line, kill the car, flush the warm water in it. This is where the coolers came in. Coolers dumped back into the radiator like lines. And then from there I was on for my lead run. Car was down on power, we barely got through the run. Troy definitely earned the win, and this was where we cracked the beers. Like I felt bad for driving the car in that circumstance, but at the same time, I was really trying to focus on this race and this moment, and you never know what can happen, so let's just get it done. You know, the car made the lap, so thanks to Golden Engine, thanks to everybody that helped kind of get the car back in race shape. Overall, as an event, I still climbed in some points because Ben Julian was up there in points and we had knocked him out. Hanadel was up there in points and we had knocked him out. So we were making progress in the championship overall. So I tightened up my gap towards the leaders, but at the same time, I'm still in 4th place overall. So the event was pretty cool, honestly, dude. We had a lot of gnarly things happen, and we're about to learn a ton about this car right now as we fix everything and get it back up and running. With that being said, the pressure is on. Our next event is North Dakota 10K drift event. I'm going back for my 3rd win. I've won 2019, 2020, and now we're on to our 2021. We'll have a bunch of fresh parts on the car, which will make things super interesting. So it's time to get jamming at the shop and fix this car.
Let's go.